I'd like to call to order the Valley County Board of Commission meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Weber, Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
Commissioner Jazinski. Commissioner Engler,
Here.
Commissioner Marino,
Here.
Commissioner Swaney,
Here.
Commissioner Holt.
Here.
All present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we get to the agenda, I'd like to take a moment to recognize that we lost a member of our community this last weekend. Tom Moffett was a county commissioner, dedicated service for like 40 years. The Chamber of Commerce, I think he got Citizen of the Year, Mount Pleasant Rotary Club. Served on a lot of our committees. Like I said, he served as commissioner. So this time I just want to spend a couple moments silence to in remembrance of Tom. Okay, thank you. Like I said, he will be missed. He meant a lot to his community. Okay, so let's move on to the approval of the agenda. We have for general public comment on agenda item only. We have one presentation, special report, Region 7, new CEO, Dana Altum. We don't have no appointments to board commission. We have the consent agenda. Then we get into committee reports. We have 6 items on the committee reports. We have no governmental or intergovernmental affairs reports. We have the administrator's controller's report. No unfinished business. No unfinished or no new business. We will open it up for general public comment again. Any topic. We'll go on an announcement and we'll have an adjournment. Is there any additions or subtraction to the agenda as presented? Adoption of the agenda as presented. Jellicoe. It's been moved by Jellicoe, supported by Hope to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have an agenda. At this time, I'd like to open it up for general public comment. On agenda items only, please state your name and try to keep it under 3 minutes. Yes.
Oh, my witness protection. My name is Jeff Tuma. I live at 645 West Broomfield Road in Mount Pleasant in the county. First of all, I would like to thank all of you. I know it's probably one of the biggest thankless jobs you've ever signed up. I know you're the money. But the reason I want to speak to item number 6, where you're talking about pressing on to this progressive company for the design and build on the old county building. I've looked at the company. I think they're a great company, and I think it's a really smart move. But what I'm here to talk about is I urge you somehow put together some type of public forum and explain the process, how we got to this point. And the reason I'm saying that, there's still a faction of people out there who come to them and tell if it's released that you're going to float a bond and do this, it's going to get rolled out. And I'm not making threats. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing out there on the street. I think it was Commissioner Marino a while ago said something about people are always saying you need to run government like a business, but you can't. Government isn't a business. Your constituents are your business. And it's their money that you're spending, and they want to know why you're spending it and how you're spending it. Actually, I'm one of the people as well. But if you could put together, I don't know how, I'm not going to sign it for you, put together some type of form, not a question and answer thing, just step by step, how you got to this process, how you got through the process and how you got to where you are right now, picking this company. And then obviously, once they do their work, you're going to have a number. When you get a bid back on the construction part of it, then you'll know exactly what you're talking about for the bond. So I think at that time, it's when you have to make this whole presentation to the public. Because your constituents are the ones paying the bills. They need to know why. And in all fairness to them, they should know why. And in all fairness to you, you should be able to produce that and take the heat off yourselves. So I think it's a great idea. I think it would be great for downtown Mount Pleasant to have that building back up and running and the people in it that work there. It'd be good for the downtown economy. I know there's people looking at the old jail in terms of some type of development, but things all have to happen one thing after another. So I would just urge you to do that. Bring it out in public, start to finish, how you got to where you're at. And I'm not trying to be mean by saying this, but we got a beautiful brand new jail and we lost our road patrol. County Commission lost a lot of credibility. Regardless of what we wound up with out there, that upset a lot of people. And I think they showed that in that election. Again, playing to your customer, the constituents. So you hit the nail on the head when you said you can't run it like a business. When you have a business, you have to go out and figure out what you can sell and make more money. Government doesn't work that way, as you well know. Been around a long time, so have I. I think you've been around longer than I. At any rate, that's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. That and is it $5 now? I'll get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Thank you very much. Rumor?
Aaron Pestle, Deerfield Township. Good evening, Commissioners. My comment is with regard to the same design bid build contract agenda item. As I believe you all know, I have strong preference for rebuilding the administration building with local contractors as much as possible over time, using our own capital as we can afford it, rather than getting another 8-figure loan and paying millions of dollars in interest over the next several decades. What we think we're going to get with a loan and a big bang build we'll be saving in rent and inflation is quickly going to be lost by interest, overhead such as prevailing wage cost increases required by bond funding efforts and earlier subsequent maintenance efforts on the building. I do not think this option of rebuilding over time without a loan has really been considered. I've never seen even a simple attempt from this board or administration to consider that option beyond offhand comments of, rent is too expensive, inflation is too high. We have to do something now. See, the prices are going up all the time, that sort of thing. I also haven't seen any evidence of this board or administration talking to local contractors to see how they might recommend doing the rebuild in this manner. I'd suggested this back a year ago and wanted to facilitate it at that time. It is conceivable that we could have already had some of the building-wide utilities completed by now, maybe even some of the small areas completed for certain employees to start moving into. I believe last fall, we had a quote for this design bid build up at the Spicer Group for about $300,000. The board and administration questioned that price as being high, which I agreed with. So we put it out for bid, which is generally a good thing. But now we're proposing to go forward with a $400,000 design bid build contract, which is 33% higher than the one that we thought was expensive just a couple months ago. That $400,000 does not include any physical work on the building, just designing, getting bids from a general contractor and overseeing that general contractor. We don't need a fancy design building, just need a safe and functional one. The constituents may force the future bond request to come to a vote of the people like we probably should have done for the jail. If this board and administration really want to know the will of the people on the bond, they proactively bring it to the vote of the people. I think we're all pretty sure we know how that would turn out though, so I can understand why this board and administration would not want to hear the will of the people on this decision. Because frankly, I think it would differ from the will of this board and administration. All that said, I have come to realize that these public comments are quite ineffective. But at least for the government boards that I sit on, I really do value the constituents who will make the effort to follow along and share their perspectives. So I do want to do the same here. Please give real consideration to rebuilding the administration building with local contractors using non-borrowed funds rather than committing $400,000 to designing and bidding the rebuild and subsequently saddling the next generation with a second $10 million loan. Thank you.
Okay, is it anybody else? Yep.
Hi, I'm Pat Schaefer from Natalie Now Show. Kind of going along with these guys, there you go. How did you guys come up with this process? Go ahead and remodel. What kind of bids do you get back, feedback from the other contractors? The big decision, probably a lot of money. Haven't heard of price. When you looked at other options, other buildings, or whatever. People need to know how you came up with this decision. Other bad decision like building jail, we had, didn't have the money there. Bad decision got in the courthouse to begin with, that need to be done. You know, people wants to know. A lot of people ain't happy. You gotta have something, but how do you guys come up with this? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to come up to the mic? Nobody online at this time? I see no one coming up, so I will close the general public comment. There will be another opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting. So let's move right on to the agenda items. Oh, we got a presentation up we've been looking forward to, so we got a new CEO, so would you like to come up and give us your presentation?
I did not have a PowerPoint today. There's time. Hopefully there'll be a few questions that I can answer for you. First, let me start with this. My name is Dana Alton. I am the newer CEO of Region 7 Area Agency on Aging. Hopefully you're all familiar with our agency, and if not, I hope the next one helps you. That said, I'm just going to go through some things that I thought would be important in this first conversation. And questions that you have, and if not, I'll be back in the spring to bring your ROI, and you can ask them then or anytime. To make sure that everyone is aware, because I don't know all of you, what we do, we're federally designated to plan and coordinate a network of services to serve older and disabled adults and their caregivers in 10 counties. One of those counties is Elizabeth. Our collaboration is critical. And if you're not familiar, I hope to be able to help you become familiar with how important it is that we work together. All the work that you do is so important. All of the advocacy for the residents of your county and all of your adults 60 plus, we are advocating for right beside you. So we want to make sure that we're continuing that work or increasing that work as that's possible. Some of the services that Region 7 distributes over $300,000 annually to Isabella County to help support include congregate home delivered meals, case coordination and support, caregiver case management, homemaking, personal care, respite care, and caregiver training. All of these services gear to keeping our older adults home, safe, and out of facilities to the greatest degree possible. So as you can imagine, that not only improves their quality of life, right, and often the longevity of their life, but it also reduces the stress on your county resources, emergency services, law enforcement, and so on. So again, this work has a broad impact. Additionally, approximately $1.7 million annually to serve between 70 and 80 older or disabled adults and their caregivers. Older disabled adults, not caregivers specifically, but for the Medicaid waiver, the Free Choice waiver through Region 7. There is another waiver provider here, so that's why I specified it. 1.7 million just to our agency to support your older adults. One of the benefits of our partnership and where we often cross paths, I imagine, is advocacy. And I will provide this at the end with your clerk, but I provided a list of some of the ways, some of the platforms through which Region 7 advocates for older and disabled adults and caregivers. And those are state agencies, federal partnerships, and of course, local legislators, district legislators. Federal. One of the things that we need your help with, and beyond you as well, help into your community, is something that as a new leader, or any leader, I suppose, it's troubling to hear that Region 7 is the best kept secret. And when I arrived at Region 7, that's what I heard from a lot of staff, the best kept secret. Just need people to know. I heard that in the community as well. And while that makes the staff proud because they understand that what we're doing is a great thing, it is the worst thing I could hear as a leader. And so for Isabella County, the best way that we can serve your older adults is to become the best known resource, the aging services resource. You have a commission on aging. We are their partner, not their competitor. I just want to make sure that's clear. If people are calling here and they don't have a service, the staff here hopefully send them, know to send them to Region 7. We'll make sure of that. I'm just getting into all of this. But also, if they call us first by chance, if the resource they need is through your county commission on aging, we're just going to make sure that they get a warm handoff to them. So again, there's just great collaboration here. We want to make sure that we increase awareness of the Region 7 side of that equation because we have additional resources that don't go through the county commission on aging because they're grants that we obtain for instance, we have a statewide initiative for options counseling. And options counselors are people can call in, they have needs, and they don't know where to find these resources. And they can do that here as well. What the options counselors do, they take that up to a next level. They can stay involved with someone for up to 6 months. They go to their home, they meet them where they are. Person never has to leave their home if they don't want to, but they can. Or if that's what they're trying to find a way to do, can help them do that. But the options counselors are very important. Again, in our statewide, we can help with resources for caregivers or older and disabled adults, etc. So it's very important. That's just one thing of one of the services that we offer that we're not able to pass on to commission. Another way that I'm hoping you can help is to ensure that for your that your county seats on our board, on our Region 7 Board of Directors and our advisory council are always occupied. So that doesn't mean every meeting. Sometimes we miss meetings and that's okay. I'm talking about making sure you have someone appointed, and we have 2 great appointees right now. We have Mr. Joseph Salmick, who has been on our board since 2020, I believe, and then we have Jackie Curtis, who has long served to the advisory council, and we're so thrilled with both of them. What we run into, though, and the reason I'm bringing this up is sometimes we have situations where a county seat is vacated for a variety of reasons. A variety of real life reasons, right? And then it sits empty for a while. Because people are busy and it's hard to, sometimes people do commit to that. But I want to tell you, we want to make sure our advocacy efforts are relevant to your county. And the way that we can do that is to have the best way we can do this of your representation at our board. This is the right thing. Another ask, I would say, I will be meeting all of the district legislators. That will take some time. If you have a great relationship with some of your district legislators, please, if you get a chance, a warm handoff would be very appreciated. Warm handoffs, fast track, meaningful conversations to support funding. So if you can help us have a seat at the table, it'd be great. On this memo, if you will, that you'll receive, there are some statistics about the aging population, which I'm sure everyone has heard to some degree. But I wanted to point this out. The fastest growing group statewide is 75. So 60 to 74 are growing, but they're starting to slow down. Which means the 75 plus growing more rapidly is one of the tax resources. So our work together is even more important. I also did look at Isabella County's figures, and it looks like that is about 19% of the population, 75, depending on social at 16. So, and it's going to continue to increase. So, again, the work we do together is important, and I look forward to that. That is the end of my part of the conversation. Is there anything that I can answer for?
Oh, I just wondered if any of the 645 million that was is in dispute would affect your agency,
645 million from,
the state of Michigan. That was,
oh, yes, the work projects?
yeah, work project.
Yes, that there is a possibility that it will, but it is minor.
Okay.
What we're looking at right now, things that we would be aware of that it may impact, it is minor, thankfully. That's a great question. Thank you.
We have an excellent commission on aging and programs they provide here to Isabella County residents. I do want to thank Region 7 for their support. I know the commission depends on different buckets of money, and this is a very important. Thank you.
Thank you for recognizing your COA. I agree. They're great work. I'm working with them for, I was previously the director at Central Michigan for almost 5 years. So.
Okay, any other questions? Well, we look forward to working with you. Good luck in the position.
Something I need to bring. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's move right on to the consent agenda. Mr. Johnson, you look like you're ready to go. So.
Give me the easy one.
We'll work on that next time. Yes.
So we're dealing with the consent agenda. Motion reads, move to approve and place on file the December 16, 2025 regular meeting minutes, January 6, 2026 organizational meeting minutes, and the January 13, 2026 Finance Committee of the whole.
Support.
Been moved by Johnson to be supported by Sweeney. Is there any more discussion or additions? Any fractions? Seeing none, let's proceed to vote. On favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, the consent agenda has passed, so let's move right on to the work session, work part of the meeting. Commissioner Swain, you want to start off the finance, the first item?
All right, the December 12th, 2025 invoice list, the December 19th, 2025 invoice list, the December 26th, 2025 invoice list, the January 2nd, 2026 invoice list, the January 9th, 2026 invoice list, and the December 11th, 2025 adjustments list. Move to ratify and place on file the December 12th, 2025 invoice list in the amount of $241,643.84. The December 19th, 2025 invoice list in the amount of $536,444.52. December 26th, 2025 invoice list in the amount of $158,245.70. January 2nd, 2026 invoice list in the amount of $823,492.13. January 9th, 2026 invoice list in the amount of $779,373.67. And the adjustments list dated December 11th, 2025.
Support. Been moved by Slaney, supported Jalalowski. Discussion. Let's start right off with the December 12th.
$41,643.84. The general fund portion was $123,884.33. Some of the bigger items on this list that contains the invoices of over $5,000 or more. Hats for $6,730.77 for the biweekly animal control contract. Preston Community Services for the equalization contract for $19,375. And then we have some for a roll-off container repair for $9,897.56 for the MERV. Manpower for the MERV for $6,406.68 and other miscellaneous items.
Okay, is there any questions on that list? Okay, let's go to this one.
On December 19th, out of the general fund portion, or on the total is $536,444.52. The general fund portion is $282,027.21. Larger items on this one is to MRP Properties for $17,604.20 for monthly rent at the 510 and 614 West Pickard sites. We also have Isabella Corporation for $67,500 for the Harris Recreation Area for the Parks project that was going on right there. And then we have some sheriff and treasurer items. The treasurer is related to refund for adjustments on taxable value and et cetera. The December 26th invoice list, $158,245.70. General fund portion is $24,198.16. We have $22,682.50 that went to Advanced Benefit Solutions for dental and vision insurance. We have another biweekly animal control contract to Hats for $6,730.77. And then we've got a couple items related to the Great Lakes Bay, Michigan Works for higher education software and uniform security services. Okay, for the January 2nd, 2026 invoice list of $823,492.13. The general fund portion of this is $12,679.34. Here, what you'll see is 5 Great Lakes Bay, Michigan Work rent for their various county sites that they have. We also have manpower for MRF for the contracted labor. And then we've got first 2025 tax disbursement from the treasurer's office with a big one of $561,164.67 to Gratiot Isabella Intermediate Schools. Okay, next one we have is the January 9th, 2026 invoice list. On this one, you have the amount of $779,393.67. The general fund portion is $178,722.79. Here we have a lot of Great Lakes Bay, Michigan Works items on here listed. We also have hats again for the biweekly animal control contract. We have Mount Pleasant Storage for $6,120 for the miscellaneous storage sites that we have to utilize. We also have MRP properties of $17,604.20 again for the monthly rent at the 510 and 614 West Pickard sites.
Okay, questions? Question. Go ahead.
So last up, we have the adjustments list dated December 11th of 2025. This list right here indicates any invoices that were paid to avoid late fees or were added for early payment discounts, or that were, I have two items on here that were changed to fixed calculation errors. So out of the sheet, there were two that were changed for calculation errors. And then the rest is the typical Gordon Food Service and JP Morgan Chase early payments.
Okay, any questions on that list? Any questions on the list of the whole? Okay, seeing none, let's do the vote. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to item number 2. Commissioner Weber, you want to handle that, please?
Application and escrow fees for special use permit and site plan
Been moved by Weber, supported by Hope. This is basically trying to get ahead of the program and trying to set some regulations and fees for the battery storage. So I don't think anything else needs to be said. Pretty standard. Any questions on that? See none. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Hope.
Support.
Been moved by Hope, supported by Marino, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay, discussion. Yeah, most of these are usually for small parcels that have to shore up the boundary lines or something like that. So larger programs, it's a little more complicated. procedures, but these are pretty minor. Any more questions? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Campbell.
Budget amendment 2026-08 BOC. Move to approve budget amendment 2026-08 BOC for temporary premium pay for direct care workers for the period of October 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same.
Support.
Been moved by Campbell, supported by Moreno. Discussion? Basically, it's just catching up some budgetary between the people that opted out of the.
No, this
Oh.
is the premium.
Oh, sorry, premium pay.
In Region 7.
Myself, so.
The grant.
Any questions? It's pretty simple.
The grant comes through after we set the budget, so now we're adjusting it so that we can incorporate those funds.
What we're gonna do next, so. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Jagozinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now we'll get to the next budget amendment. Commissioner Moreno.
Move to approve the budget 26-09 BOC to adjust budget to reflect insurance opt-outs for the 2026 calendar year and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. The move by Moreno, supported by Jagozinski. As you were saying, it's.
This is the one about the
The one
opt-out.
where they opt out of the insurance and just catching it up now, because at that time we didn't know. So.
We had quite a bit of discussion on this in the healthcare committee. I guess it's been 2 years since it took place, but the committee came to the conclusion that if we significantly increase that in lieu amount, we get more people to opt out of the insurance. Our benefits person from Acrisure told us that most employers are going the other way, not offering opt-out money, but the committee felt that by increasing this opt-out in lieu of payment, then more people would opt out, and we did have 6 additional opt-outs this year, so we've saved about $100,000 this year because of that.
Okay. Any more questions? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Jagozinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Engler.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next up, and I did not plan this, Commissioner Jagozinski, but you get the last item.
It evens the balance between the whole agenda.
Number 6.
Enhanced service proposal from progressive companies. Motion reads, move to approve the enhanced service proposal from progressive companies for Fitzgerald County Administration Building renovation and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same pending legal approval.
Support.
Been moved by Jagozinski, supported by Swaney. Yeah, let's open up the discussion, because I know this has been going on. We've studied this for a year. We did have an earlier. Oh, go ahead.
I'll start the discussion, but then I'm going to turn it over to our administrator for more of an explanation. But, we've been working on this for close to 2 years now. And just some of the public comments we got today, I'm kind of in agreement. We don't do the best job informing our public on our decisions. We leave it for those detractors that are out there on social media because they're the only voice being heard. And they build up this argument that we've had poor decision-making or we're wasting dollars. And that hasn't been the case. And for this building right here, I heard tonight that it was a bad decision to vacate that building. Well, when it came to us with the fact that we had red rooms, and I'm calling red atmosphere in rooms, where the asbestos was so bad, they had to be immediately locked and closed so that that asbestos wouldn't escape. So with that, we decided to move on. Well, having personally been involved in risk management for more than 20 years, one thing that struck me is that if we made a decision other than to remove that asbestos and protect our employees and the public, we could be held grossly negligent. Now, Michigan government still has some protections for liability under the law. To bring a lawsuit against the county, you have to be able to prove gross negligence. And I think if we wouldn't have made the decision we had, we would have been subject to gross and negligent lawsuits moving ahead, which would really tie our hands and finances and the like. But also, what's often cited is the fact that we tested for air quality. And we found that from those tests that the air quality was sufficient even to meet law for housing kindergarten students. Well, you know, that's a point in time. You test it and it may be fine. You don't know what's going to be. We already know that there's red hot rooms. You don't know what the circumstances would be moving forward. But we moved to protect the public and we protected our employees. That was more important. We knew it was going to be an expensive venture, but we did what we thought was a responsible decision. Had we not made that, anytime there'd be any maintenance in that building, we would have to secure the building and bring probably people in hazmat suits to come in and change the light bulbs and the fluorescents to run any new cables that we needed to run. It just didn't make sense not to move forward with total abatement of that asbestos problem. And it came at a time we already had some financial headwinds that we had to deal with. So that wasn't something we wanted to take, but it was a responsible action. And I get tired of hearing it was a poor decision. It was the right decision to make at the time. We've been dealing with this for 2 years. And I think we need to move ahead. And at that, I'll turn the floor over to our administrator to give more background on this progressive companies.
So kind of going back a little bit too, the intent of getting these professional design bid build services is to provide all the necessary documents needed to go out to bid for a general contractor on this project. This is not starting the construction. This is not starting the bond process. This is merely getting us the architectural design necessary to go out for bid for a general contractor. This is the quality of documents that we would be able to submit to any local planning commission that they may need to see, or to the building official in the city to review these. This is architectural standards. So once we get that done, then we can go out for bid for a general contractor. Open to everybody, not invitation only, open to everybody. And I hope we have a lot of local contractors that will bid on this. Then once we get that price on that general contractor, then we're going to have a hard cost on the general contractor. This right here, then that would be then go out for bond. So we're not doing any estimates. We're not saying we're going to go borrow up to a certain dollar amount. This is going to give us a more transparent number for the community so that they can actually see the plans. They can see the numbers and that they can feel more, hopefully more comfortable with how we came up with these numbers.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the people that worked on the work group. We spent a lot of time. You hear that, well, we're not doing our due diligence. We're not looking at options. I've looked at a lot of options. I know other members of this board have looked at options. You know, we looked at building another building. We looked at a different location. We looked at selling our building. I've offered it out there several times. A lot of people think they can sell it. I'm still waiting for that first bid to come in. There's a lot of properties. We've looked at a couple other buildings. One building, I won't say which one, but it's like 30 years old. And for us to go out and spend money to buy $1 million to buy property, another building, and then have to gut it out and do it just really doesn't make sense. I've actually looked at, I think we looked at properties for people to build the lease. The county has several advantages with that. We do not pay property taxes. So at least whenever we're leasing as we're doing now, we actually are paying property taxes. Our employees have put up with a lot. The leased properties are not, they're supposed to be temporary. At this point, we're required to fix any maintenance. Some of the buildings are not the newest ones. There's some liability there. So if we continue to lease, with the cost of inflation, all the leases went up 5% this time. Short term, if we're going to continue to lease, we'll have to have probably better lease properties. I know once we get into some actual numbers, we're going to do some projections as compared to what leasing is. What it's going to do, the nice thing, you know, if we do go out for a bid, I said, we heard earlier a little bit about, you know, spending all our capital and build what you can. Understand that the county operates a little bit like farming. Taxes come in 2 times a year. There are some times when we do have cash flow issues. And then if there is another emergency, like with let's say the court building, you know, HVAC system goes down, we'll have no money, so we'll have to borrow that. I know we're one of the counties that when the taxes come in, we make the townships and the cities whole, and then we collect them later. There are actually some counties out there that actually have to borrow that money. We've never had to go down that route. But if we were shorthanded on cash, we'd have to borrow money to give out to the townships and the city. So in the long term, looking forward, this is the cheapest option. We're always willing to look at any other options, and we'll take any proposals. And I think we are going to try to be more transparent, not so much transparent. I know when I go to meetings, I talk all the time. Sometimes I think I talk a little bit too much about this, but you're looking at the projections and everything. It's just so much expensive to buy or to lease compared. I'll use home ownership. It's a lot better to own your own home over the long term than it is to rent. I think that's a good analogy to use because in the long term, it is always better to own. The county has, like I said, several advantages. We don't pay property taxes. There are some advantages to leasing, which if you're a business, you can use that as a business expense taxes, but that doesn't apply to government. So looking forward to having discussions. I know we do plan on having some meetings to just discuss this. Looking forward. It needs to get going. Yes, go ahead.
I just might add, you know, and when we talk specifically about the progressive companies, their proposal was very encompassing and it was in the most responsive to the county's needs. So when we had phone call or Zoom meeting with them, and then we had a Zoom meeting with another company that we were also consider recommending, they just provided the most value and the most options in which we're not going to have to go back and ask for hopefully change orders on stuff, that this was going to give us a more complete, inclusive package in which they already had the internal experts as far as if how we're gonna design, not necessarily meaning that we have to go FF&E with them, but we can get with them to show how layout would work so that they can design all the electrical and the wiring for that type of office configuration based on some of their internal designers. They also can assist with audio visual and IT needs for some of the areas like security for the doors. They can provide all that stuff that's already included in their price. So it just, I felt, gave us the best value for what we're looking for. And typically, when you're looking at a design bid build, the price range for those services will range anywhere from 5 to 10% of the construction cost. And so this, if we look at a construction of, let's say, throw out $10 million, we're at 4%. So we're kind of under, we're still under. And then, you know, I think that shows what value that we're getting in this. And I did talk to a couple municipalities that utilize them. One in particular could not speak more highly of them because they had a changeover in board. They had a lot of stuff. I think it was around COVID. So they had a lot of difficulties and everything like that. And Progressive Companies was a valuable partner when they were working through all these issues and stuff like that. So you can't place a dollar amount on something like that. So I was very impressed. Just not people that they had listed, just people that I knew that had utilized them. And it was very nice to hear such favorable reviews of them.
Okay. Commissioner.
I think it would be good for people present to hear again the process we use to get to this point to decide on a company. So I guess if Administrator Controller Smith, if you could just run quickly through from RFP to this point.
Okay, I'll read the first paragraph on this document right here. So at the regular board meeting of the Isabella County Board of Commissioners held on November 4th, 2025, a motion was passed that authorized the county administrator controller to prepare and send out a request for proposals for design bid build professional services for the Isabella County Administration Building Remodel Project. The RFP was issued on November 24th, 2025, with a mandatory site visit and pre-proposal meeting on December 8th, 2025. RFPs were then due by 2 p.m. Monday, December 22nd. Isabella County received 13 qualified proposals that were reviewed thoroughly by staff and presented to the Administration Building Advisory Committee. Once the 13 qualified proposals were reviewed by staff, follow-up Zoom meetings were conducted with the two most favorable proposals for clarification. And in the packet, it not only includes the initial proposal, but it also includes that follow-up meeting, which they clarified on 2 or 3 pages, I believe, some of the questions that we had for them. Thank you.
I just want to say at that mandatory pre-bid meeting, we had 28 people, 28 firms show up, and from that, we got 13 qualified bids for this. So thrilled with that. Agree 100% with Commissioner Jalzinski when he said that the best move was to completely abate that building instead of moving on and have to constantly deal with asbestos issues. It was not a small amount of asbestos. It was sprayed on fireproofing on every deck throughout that entire building. The only way to remove it, and the problem with it, after years and years, it starts to delaminate and fall, and it lays up on the ceiling tiles. The only way to remove it is to spray it with water and then manually scrape it off, which creates a tremendous mess and necessitated moving everything out of that building. It was then discovered that a lot of the metal studs had been built before that decking was sprayed. Not the right order to do things, but sometimes on construction jobs that happens. So all of the metal studs had that, residue from that spray-on fireproofing, which meant it was inside all of the wall cavities. So all of the interior walls had to be removed. People can disagree and say that we went too far with that. That's fine. People are entitled to their opinions. I agree that we did the right thing in removing all of it. We've got a clean building. It's a big empty space, and we need to get it remodeled and get it back in there. I also just want to point out that we aren't trying to design anything amazing or fantastic. We're just looking for functional. We want functionality, space that will suit our needs, our employees, and eventually get back in that building.
And since we are starting, we can make that a lot more efficient than the other buildings were, so it will save us money in heating and cooling.
I personally feel that Progressive is the company that we need to move forward with, but I also have to agree with Mr. Tuma as far as doing some kind of a forum sooner than later, invite the public, not for answering questions, but more of a presentation, and maybe the Progressive could provide us with a presentation at that time as well.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Pending board approval, I planned on going down to see them this week already to get things started, and that's one thing that I will bring up for a topic, and I'm just judging by the conversations, I think they will do what's needed and what's best for the board and the community to, because I kind of gave them some highlights and just, we need to be transparent and open on this project, and they wholeheartedly agreed. And so I'm sure whatever they can do to help, they will.
Okay, good discussion. Any other comments? Madam Clerk, I think we're ready for a vote.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That completes the work session of the meeting tonight. We have no governmental affairs. Administrator Controller, would you like to comment? Okay. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. At this time, we'll open it up to general public comment again. Please state your name. Restrict your comments to 3 minutes. Any topic? Yes, you may speak.
I didn't have, you guys have made, but I do know, along with some other elected officials, our concerns are, hopefully they'll give us more than 20 minutes in regards to designing our office and speak to us elected officials on the functionality of it, where it might be or should be located and what other offices. And one of my biggest fears is to have 2 doors in case of fire or a shooting. If they're not gonna do anything with the windows, we have to realize that those windows we can't get out of, and we have no way of getting out. And I've spoke to the last ones about this, and it just didn't seem to be a concern. But if they can do or rectify or something with those windows to make them so that we can get out in case there was a fire or something going on, it's something that is dear to my heart for our safety. Thank you.
Good comments. We'll take that into consideration, how we do that, so. I know safety was a big concern, so. Okay. Whoops, broke the rules. This was public comment, so. Is there any other public comments? I'm sorry. I'm just so
Confusing.
used to you speaking as a. Is there any of the other persons that would like to speak at general public comment? Is there anybody online? Okay, now I will close general public comment. I do apologize for that misspeaking during public comment, so. Announcements. Is there any announcements for any of the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we adjourn.
Four.
Been moved by Marino, supported by McGinn Weber. So all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting is over. 6 o'clock.
We're out of here.